Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very well. And I also hope you've all been out to see Edgar Wright's love letter to the Giallo genre last night in Soho. Stylish, surreal, sexy, sensual, savage, awesome. Now, this video is not reviewing the movie. Not reviewing the movie. This is basically a little test video. Because when I review the film, which I want to do, well, I want to do it right now, but I want to be able, as you all know, to be able to play the soundtrack to the movie as well, which I'm doing right now. This is Stephen Price's score to the movie. Now, we know the film semi-set in swingin, psychedelic 60s, and then you've got like the present day, and a poor girl that is crossing over from one past timeline to another, and witnessing perhaps savagery and murder and unravelling a huge horrible plot from decades before, and her life becomes a collision between the two time periods, and she's horribly involved in it all, and it becomes a huge shocking nightmare. It's a fantastic film, folks. So there's my mini review for the movie, but the film relies as much on the visuals as it does on the music. And the music is extraordinary. You know, to use a phrase which Lorraine Kelly and Billy Connolly have used to extraordinarily OTT degrees. But the film is a powerhouse, pumping powerhouse of absolute fantastic nostalgic songs, given a whole new vibe and verve via composer Stephen Price, whose score in the film itself, many people say, oh, it's buried, I didn't hear the score. Well, in some people's ears, that's always a good thing. Many composers always say, well, if you're hearing my score, then I've not done my job correctly. Something I don't really understand. But because I listen out for movie score music, I want to hear the music. In many cases, I love the music more than the movie itself. But a lot of people say that, you know, if you don't hear it, then the film itself is working and the music's doing its job. It's not distracting you from what you're watching on screen. The characterization, the dialogue, the screenplay, the plot, it's not taking you out. But for me, the music only embellishes and builds and absolutely maximizes scenes and tension and atmosphere. And in this movie, which relies heavily on a pure, beautiful collection of 60s classics, the likes of Sandie, Dusty Springfield, Still the Black, the Searchers, the Who's in there as well, the Kinks, everybody's in there, and it is a wonderful eclectic mix which is given a great, you know, rousing 60s vibe by the score itself, by the soundtrack itself and its production. But also when Stephen Price gets to work on it, he manipulates and changes and gives a really queasy effect to some of these classic songs. And there's two score albums out, the soundtrack album with all the songs on it, and you've got the score album, which has some of the songs on it again, but given that really bizarre sort of vibe, as well as his extraordinary, have you, see, Lorraine, I'm with you, girl, it's extraordinary how he's managed to incorporate a lot of score into a film where no one else seems to have noticed it. I did, but I was sitting there listening out for it, and I thought, wow, it's brilliant. He has this thing of a huge crescendo, a big build-up, and then a sudden drop-off, a precipice, and it's gone. And it's nice. He's done that before, but it works really well in this movie as well, in this score. And the score is, as I say, fantastic. So this is a little test of the video, really. The very fact that if you're seeing this right now, then hey, it was a success, because I don't want YouTube blocking my big review of the movie because I'm playing the score behind it. It's happened before. It's happened to me a couple of times. Only a couple of times, but you know, when you've poured your heart and soul into doing like a half-hour or 40-minute bloody video, then you've really worn your heart on your sleeve and all that, and then it gets blocked, and you go, oh. Because you can't, you know, catch lightning in a bottle again, can you? You know. So this is a little test, as I say, but we're going to use this now as an example of what Stephen Price did to some classic songs in this movie. and how they really worked. And okay, let's do, well, we've already started it. This is Downtown, Dusty Springfield. Only it's Anna Taylor-Joy who plays the girl in the 60s that our heroine will discover in her dream fantasy world, but which becomes a reality. Now listen to this. Both girls are incredibly gorgeous and very, very brilliant actresses. And my God, she can sing and she can dance. It's a queasy, sombre, melancholy reflection on Springfield's eternal classic. Slower, more sombre, more serious, ethereal. Because the whole film is about idealistic dreams which are not crushed but broken and bruised. Because when I get around to the full film review, we'll discover that they're the echoing voices as well. We'll discover that no matter what happens to your dreams, you can still make them come true. So there's a message in this Giallo, throwback. Hear the orchestral element, slow, subdued, like rolling waves in the distance. But then you get these weird bits of electronica sliding in and out, providing an edge of angst and grief. There is a video on YouTube of Anna Taylor-Joy singing this song with lots of scenes from the movie incorporated. Kind of making me think that, are they going to release this as a single? They may do. They may do. It's powerful enough. Slows down, stops, and slowly comes back again. Delicate, haunting, very haunting, I'm sure you'll agree. Replacing Dusty Springfield? No, of course, it's not trying to. This is the film version. This is the sort of the nightmarish suppression and mutation of dreams and hopes, and of an era poisoned and polluted by the sick underbelly of this very seedy Soho. Springfield's song was always about getting away to somewhere where you could forget all your troubles and your cares. It won't matter. This version subverts that. It makes you realise that once you've got there, it's not what you think. The way she sings it and the slower tempo, no, don't fall for it. I think it's insanely clever. It's slightly off kilter. I even like the voices echoing in the background, warping in and out. And that reminds me of a lot of 80s ballads as well. The repetition and the slow dirge fade out. A lot going on there. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, we will play a bit of the next track, which is Neon. And if I remember correctly, this is where Eloise, our heroine, played by Thomasin McKenzie, who is, I'm going to use that word again, extraordinary. An absolute divine, petite, mouse-like beauty, combining naivety, vulnerability with determination and grit and resolve. I'll come on to a lot more of this in the movie review. But when she first discovers this dream world and this encounters this other girl, Sandie, from not Sandie Shaw, although there is a verbal joke about that in the movie. And she encounters her, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who has aspirations of being a lounge singer and a big success in the Cilla Black, Dusty Springfield mould entirely. And of course that all, well, I think dreams don't always work out the way you want them to. So we'll leave that there for now. But when she first goes to bed in this fantastic bedsit, classical bedsit, old school, run by the proprietorial authority of Diana Rigg, the great Diana Rigg, in her final performance, before she sadly died, and she's magnificent in this. It's just what Eloise wants, because she's a lover of the 60s and a fashion designer. She loves everything about the 60s. So when she finds this place, it's a dream come true. Dreams again. And then when she goes to sleep, suddenly she's thrust into this alternate, past, haunted, ghostly reality. And her first sort of explosion into Soho in the 60s and the Rialto ballroom is bedecked with this dreamy ambient track called Neon. And this is a very sort of Bondian theme, James Bondian, John Barry. Thunderball is emblazoned across the marquee of the cinemas. Thunderball has just opened, so we know what time period we're in. But although it's James Bond in this, if you listen to it, it's actually Thomas Newman. This is very Skyfall and Spectre taking on John Barry. And I love it! I love it! Hope you can hear that. If you're a fan of James Bond music, you'll know the legacy going through this. It is Bondian, but it's Thomas Newman doing John Barry. It's not John Barry pastiche or anything like that. It's a take on John Barry via diluted, sieved through Thomas Newman by Stephen Price, and I think it's wonderful. It's never too early. It's never too early for whiskey. It's modern Bond. It's a great, because the film is set in present day, still swinging, Carnaby Street and Soho, but the Soho of the 60s. So it flips between the two, and then, as I say, the whole thing will collide in violence and terror and horror. Anyway, let's get on to. Okay, here's a bit of Sandie Shaw now. This is very brazen, this. Now, with this, I want you to listen to how this very quickly, after all this jubilance, collapses in insanity and becomes one of the huge climaxes of the movie, of absolute paranoia, visions, craziness, and warped out insanity. What the hell is going on? And our poor heroine is running through all this. Listen how Stephen Price gets in and devours this perennial classic. Fades out a little bit. It's like the past, the classic, trying to get through. Bit of a siren there. Now you've got to try and imagine stuff happening. Our heroine trying to cling to the beauty of what the past was, and also trying to maybe save someone from the past. Always something there to remind me, the past coming back. Crucially relevant to the story. These edgy bits like a train coming in. Oh. Again, we got the voices coming in. There's someone else doing that, I wouldn't like that. And you got these horrific crescendos, tension fucking rising. A bit of Bond in there too, as it happens. Completely. We've just, Sandie Shaw's been just kicked into touch, and now terror, violence, revelation. It's a bombardment. Now, I don't know, you might not like that. If you're a purist, you're like, what the hell have you done? It's one of my favourite songs, how dare you? It's in the context of the movie, it's in the context of the score. It's a different vibe. It's important, it's necessary, it's absolutely, totally potent and relevant to the story and our emotional connection to the characters. And it works an absolute treat. What else can we go on to? Oh, okay, well, okay. This is Anna Taylor-Joy again, and she's singing You're My World. And again, Stephen Price has put a haunting, piercing edge on this. Those strings. And yet, this retains a very, very 60s feel. From the haunting Giallo movies of the 60s, Mario Bava, it's there. Tragic feel to it. I'm drinking this in anticipation of this video actually not getting blocked. You watch as my plans go horribly awry and this video gets out there, and then I do a massive video reviewing the movie, warts and all, playing this, and that gets blocked. Advertising. Again, you've got this queasy, all at sea feel. It throws you, it's tilting you, and you know, it's like a dream fugue. It's like you're dancing, your drink's been spiked, or just had too much to drink. And it's suddenly, and this is what you see in the movie as well, how the world just changes around you. Edgar Wright does a fabulous job of doing it. Okay folks, I'm going to leave it there now because I want to get this, see if it goes on okay, and then get back to you with the full review. Should I do a spoiler review? No, because I know that not many people have seen it. The film has not done well. It's in America now. It opened in the UK, I think, a week before America. I can't quite remember. And I didn't see it until only a few days ago. And then I've been busy with other stuff before I could even talk about it. But it is a fabulous movie, and even if you don't watch the full video later on, I urge you to go and watch the movie and then watch my video afterwards. So folks, keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic, keep it kilted, keep it 60s. Bond again, you can hear the Bond influence here, you know? So folks, I'm going to see you all in the happy house.